He kōna I purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Nau mai ki te wiki o te reo Māori, he harikoa te ngākau, kua hono mai koutou, he mahanga pūrongo I te rānei, kia rite. Families in England are lining up to pay their respects to the Queen, with queues stretching back 5 kilometres. Crowds and flags have lined the route of the Queen's coffin as it made its long journey from Scotland through to Edinburgh and a flight to London. On Wednesday, a horse-drawn carriage took the coffin from her home at Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall. That is where Britain's longest-serving monarch will lie in state for the world to mourn for 4 days before her funeral on Monday. New Zealanders will also have a chance to celebrate Her Majesty's life. A memorial will be held on Monday, September the 26th, with events held throughout the motu to honour Queen Elizabeth II. This also means there will be a one-off public holiday on the same day. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for event information where you live.
I hope that you will always hold fast to your own language and culture, your arts and crafts, and that you will always cherish the traditions which have been handed down from your forefathers. I thank you again for your welcome. Kia ora kutu.
Ka pai tō reo Māori e te Queenie. That speech was given in 1954, urging us to hold tight to our language, and we're fighting hard every day to do just that. Back in Aotearoa, most COVID restrictions, including the wearing of face masks, have been scrapped. Household contacts of COVID patients will no longer need to isolate at home, although they will have to take daily rapid antigen tests. Masks will only be required at health clinics, pharmacies and rest homes, although other places such as special events or marae may continue to ask people to wear them. Did you know there is no minimum age to start working in New Zealand? Well, a new young workforce seems to be on the rise. Shops, cafes and other businesses have been reaching out to young people because they are struggling with the shortage of workers. This is particularly so in Tahuna, Queenstown, where school students, some as young as 12, have been earning upwards of $16 an hour. Limitations include what work they can do and when, so that it doesn't interfere with school. One hotel manager said he would love to have more students working in housekeeping. But if his children's bedrooms were anything to go by, that would not be a good idea. Fair enough. A bus taking teenagers to school crashed early Friday morning with the front end hanging off a bridge. The students taking the bus to Auckland St Mary's College were shaken up but unharmed. Eyewitnesses said that the bus lost control on the slippery surface, ran over the footpath and burst through the railings. Roads were closed in the area while the bus was rescued from the site. A defining moment in the struggle to save Te Reo Māori has been celebrated this week. 50 years ago, supporters presented a petition to Parliament, which led to Te Reo Māori becoming an official language of Aotearoa. About 1,000 people gathered to mark the anniversary and celebrate the strides that have been made in saving the language, something that we are all benefiting from today. And our explainer this week looks at the history of why the use of Te Reo Māori fell and how it is once again being revitalised.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko te kaupapa mō tēnei rā ko te Wiki o Te Reo Māori.
It's Māori Language Week, and we're exploring the history behind Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori.
Titiro whakamuri, kōkiri whakamua. By looking backwards, we can reflect and move forward.
To learn about the importance of Māori Language Week, we first need to look back at some difficult points in our country's history, starting right back in the 1700s.
Before the arrival of European settlers to Aotearoa, Te Reo Māori was the language spoken here.
But as the British began to settle, take political control over the country and take hold of the nation, this led to the decline in the use of Te Reo Māori.
The New Zealand land wars between the British and Māori, along with World War I and II, saw the loss of many Reo speakers.
And due to flu that was brought to Aotearoa by these early settlers, the Māori-speaking population suffered another large loss in numbers.
Yet another major impact on the Māori language happened in the 1860s, when new laws meant children were punished for speaking Te Reo Māori.
That sounds pretty rough for our ancestors. But there's hope ahead. In the 1970s, Champions for the Māori language band together to fight for the revival of Te Reo Māori, and the language began to grow in strength.
In 1972, the Māori language petition was signed by more than 30,000 people, and Māori organisations Ngā Tamatoa and the Te Reo Māori Society demanded that the government recognise our country's native language.
As a result, September 14th was declared Māori Language Day, and 3 years later, that was expanded to Māori Language Week, Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori.
And in 1987, the Māori Language Commission was established, and Te Reo Māori was finally recognised as an official language of Aotearoa. What this all means is that celebrating Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori is only the beginning. Every time that you use Te Reo Māori, you are a champion for Te Reo Māori too. In fact, the plan is to have 1 million Te Reo speakers by 2040.
You've seen how far we've come. Now let's help the language go even further. Kia kaha Te Reo Māori. I'm Evie York, and this episode was made by TVNZ and RNZ and is public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air. You or your parents can follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or just about any podcast app. Plus, you can watch News to Me on TV2 on Friday afternoons, catch it on demand, or listen to it just before the 7 o'clock news on Saturday mornings on RNZ National.